Yeah, I don't know, Alana Jaylo, about the black bean brownies, but you say your sister likes them.
I think she may have made them because she was experimenting with some black bean recipes once. I have to ask her about that, which I actually have to call her today. Yep.
We just finished having leftovers for breakfast. We made tostadas.
Mm-hmm. Really good, too.
Yes. Now you are wondering what to have for dinner tonight.
Yeah, there's some options I have.
What are you considering?
I don't know. I do like eggs, so I might have some of those. Or maybe I'll have breakfast for dinner and I'll have waffles.
Ew.
What?
I'm not a big breakfast person.
Ew. Yeah.
I would recommend taking some of those beans, heating them up, throwing in a little bit of kale, maybe some cheese, and mixing in a little bit of tomato sauce with them. The sauce that we made last night for the pizza.
Really? I was going to use it for something else.
Really? Well, what you could do is you could use that sauce, because I know you have some instant rice in there. And you could mix it in with that and flavor it, and then throw the beans over it with a little bit of cheese.
Oh, you mean to cook all that with the cheese in it?
Yeah.
And then just top it off with kale?
Mm-hmm.
That might be an idea.
Yes, babe boys.
I don't know. I'll see.
What did you think of the way the pizza turned out last night?
Oh, so good. I was in love with that butter sauce. Well, in love metaphorically.
Oh, good.
Not really in love with the sauce. But
I left the room for a minute and I was afraid you were going to cheat on me with the butter sauce.
The butter sauce is only to be enjoyed in that moment.
It's also super easy to make, too.
It's so good.
It's just butter, olive oil, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of garlic.
And it just permeates throughout the crust.
Yeah.
I mean,
you just put it on a low heat on the stove until the butter melts.
Didn't you say something like you should have waited until putting the butter sauce on, or what was it? Because you said you could have waited a little longer for that, or what was that you were saying?
I don't remember saying that last night. What I remarked was, I wish I had like one of those small paint brushes.
Oh, those, yes.
And then I would have dipped it in the butter sauce. Like maybe I would have poured the sauce in a bowl, dipped the brush in, and then just, put it on, painted the sides of the pizza crust.
Right.
Because I'm not the best at pouring.
Yeah.
And I think that would have added a little something to it.
Oh, it still did, though.
Pouring and, getting some on the toppings.
Yeah, well, even if you did pour it on, it still was really, really good.
I'm glad you liked it, babe. I was a little sad that we were low on ice cream last night, but we made it work.
Well, we had the rest of the ice cream to eat. I mean, it wasn't a lot because we already had some the week before, but, I can get more ice cream.
These are hard times, babes. I think you should do that for next weekend.
I think you should get more ice cream.
For this week, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, I'll buy some more ice cream for myself this week.
No, you could buy some ice cream at Big Deal, but then it would melt.
Oh, yeah, see, it makes more sense to buy more ice cream from my place, and then on Friday you get some more for here.
You could buy some snacks and bring some over,
I bought snacks for you, babe.
When?
We've done Walmart orders through my account here.
That's true, but I mean, you can actually bring snacks from your house.
But my bags I like to travel with one bag, if at all possible. And my backpack is usually full when I come over here.
Well, you could just, I don't know, put a few small items in a Ziploc bag and share some with me.
But I order stuff from Walmart for you, babe.
Yes, I know that, and I appreciate it.
But it's not the same as actually making room in my bag that doesn't.
Oh, my goodness. It isn't as if I'm able to go to your house and eat all your food.
No,
either.
I know. But I buy food for you sometimes, babes, and sometimes it includes snacks.
Yes, I know, Bubs. I know.
But it's not the same as taking food out of my refrigerator and making room for them in my bag.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness. I love you, jeez.
I love you, too. I'm just saying, Bubs.
Yes. It's something to consider, Jaylo.
No, I'm not saying I'm not appreciative. Of course I am.
No, I'm just saying I don't see why bringing food from my house is any better than ordering from Walmart. But that's just my thing, babe, boys.
You wheeled one Hammond.
Oh, you weird old Jaylo.
Okay.
You got a little worked up last night, but we'll get to that in a minute.
I don't know that we have to tell anybody about that one.
Oh, are we not allowed to talk about? Am I not allowed to talk about that? If you say I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Well, I mean, I just don't know that it's worth talking about. That's what I mean. I mean, we ought to talk about all the times that I get worked up, because there are times that I'm not very happy. I'll just say that there are times I'm not very happy with him.
Can we talk about...
No.
This one was on my phone. Can we talk about what happened in the kitchen or no? With the olives or no?
With the olives?
Yeah. You didn't...
No, oh no, I can explain that.
Okay.
Okay, I wasn't trying to be snippy, but somebody accused me of being snippy without asking if I was really snippy. And I asked, so I was trying to open the lid to the can of olives, and I opened it on the wrong side, not realizing I opened it on the wrong side. And I said, look at this, and I meant to say, could you please look at this, but it ended up coming out, look at this, please. And he thought I was upset with him. And I said, well, I actually wasn't upset. I just wanted you to look at something, and it just came out like that. But he never asked me until after the fact.
And then this morning we were in the kitchen. I said, babe, could you get me something? You're like, I'm in the middle or something. Okay.
No, I said, hold on, one thing at a time. What, can I not say hold on, one thing at a time?
You can, but if you say, hey, babe, could you hold on a minute? I mean,
that's what I did, but you just took it the wrong way.
No, I know, but I mean, we're not in a a service kitchen. We're not making food for tons of people. It's just the two of us.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I think sometimes you misread me and you don't ask until after it happens.
Maybe that's true. Okay, you need a kiss.
I'm not upset, by the way. I'm not.
Well, you need a kiss.
Why?
Because you do.
Okay, stop.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
What? You don't like when I do that?
It's weird.
Okay. I'm a little bit strange.
Yes, you are.
But that's what makes me unique, babe.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, everyone is strange in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And that also includes you. What'd you say?
But I'm the normal one in the relationship.
Oh, whatever.
Jeez.
You can say that all you want to, but whatever.
Oh my goodness. Whatever.
Yes.
Jaylo.
Yes.
We watched
yeah.
some episodes of DS9 yesterday.
Oh, yes, we did.
Tell me about the one with Wharf.
Okay, remind me about that one. Is that the one where he's fighting for the respect of the House of Martok?
You're close. That's the one where Martok gets an order to command a Klingon vessel.
Oh, yes.
And Worf gets transferred aboard.
Yeah, that was interesting. Because I forgot. So I was thinking about the episode where Martok, where the Martok wasn't found out to be, was later found out to be a changeling. He wasn't the real Martok. And the crew on DS9 had to dress and act like Klingons to fight the Klingons.
Right.
And while they're fighting the Klingons, Worf or Odo discovers that Martok is really a changeling. I forgot how he finds that out, but he's a changeling. So I wasn't sure what to think about Martok. I thought he was...
This episode takes place on the one that we watched yesterday, after him and Bashir, Garrick, and Worf were rescued from the Dominion prisoner camp.
Right, And so I wasn't sure about Martok, but he was transferred aboard. Dax went on with him as his first officer.
She was a science officer, actually.
Well, she was you know what I mean. Do you want to...
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, babe. Go ahead.
You've been doing that lately.
Sorry, babe.
It's kind of annoying.
Dax was the first officer. Keep going.
Yes.
Keep going, babes.
Yeah, she was a science officer. Excuse me. First science officer, or whatever it is. And so Martok wasn't taking charge of his crew, and the crew has been kind of, not doing anything. It's been Martok's been stagnant. The crew hasn't been doing anything, and Worf is trying to get him to be a leader, to the crew. Am I right?
Basically, because this ship hasn't won any battles in the last 7 months. And if you know anything about Klinger... Klinger?
Klinger. You said Klinger. I know someone whose last name is Klinger.
Nice. If you know anything about Klingons, they believe that there's a lot of honor in battle, so they like to fight and win. And this crew has been denied victory so many times that they're downtrodden, very depressed, and it comes out in the form of anger. And Martok denies them a few victories.
They laugh, but they, because they haven't laughed in a long time, and they haven't had a good time in a long time. So Worf has to get Klingon. Worf has to get Martok to stand up and be a leader for his crew, so he fights him. And Worf lets Martok injure him. Am I right?
Keep going, you're doing well, babe.
Yeah. And well, actually, I want you to continue on.
They win a battle, return to the station. Martok approaches Worf while they are hanging out in Quarks and says, I wasn't sure if you were my friend, but you proved it to me back then. They talk for a minute, and then he's like, I know you're from the House of Moog, but the House of Martok would like to have you as a member. And that's where the episode ends.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was great because not only did Martok and Worf make up, now Worf is a part of Martok's house.
Mm-hmm.
And is now respected by Martok and the crew.
I really like General Martok. I think he's a great character on the show.
Yeah, now I'm starting to think of him in a different light.
Yeah, he's really good for the show.
Yes.
I enjoy this episode a lot. One thing that keeps coming up in my mind with DS9, and it's a complaint, but I don't know if it's a valid one or not. They always make Jadzia the most intelligent person in the room. At least that's the impression I get.
I think you're spot on, actually.
Yeah, because she always knows about Klingon culture.
She does.
She's partying with the Ferengis, and she's really good at all their games.
Yeah, she knows the inside jokes or the inside stuff about the food, and, she's been to several places. Yemek sauce. Now we know it's a I think it's a Klingon sauce.
I thought it was Ferengi, but regardless,
it's either Ferengi or I can't remember Klingon or Ferengi, whichever it is. I can never keep up.
That's not relevant at the moment.
It's not.
Do you think that it's a good thing that Jadzia is portrayed as being so wise and brave? Because she is a character who has over 300 years of memories that she can use as a point of reference, where most people only have their lifetime? Or do you think that the writers go overkill with making her seem too knowledgeable about things?
No, I don't think so. I think that there's a reason why she's like that, because of the years of memories that were carried on by her previous hosts. I think.
Nice, babes.
I don't think it's overkill at all. Really, I think she's supposed to be that way.
Okay, sometimes I question that, but overall it works for me.
But I mean.
Ooh, Jaylo.
No, that's the stopper of the door stopper. But I'm not really a Star Trek person, and you would know more about Jadzia than I would. Mm-hmm. But I like that she's really smart. I like that.
Good.
I don't think anything's wrong with that.
I will tell you this, on the list of characters on the show, she's not one of my favorites. She's near the bottom.
Really?
Yes.
Huh, that's interesting. Why is that? Is it because she's too smart, or what?
Well, it's the complaint I just said. They always try to make her seem like either the most intelligent or the bravest person in the room. Mm. And sometimes it feels like, oh, guys, this is overkill.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. I do like Major Kira better. I think Kira is such a more in-depth character than Dax is.
Oh, Major Kira's a badass. I love Major Kira on this show. Now, the actress who plays Dax was really good in a movie that we are not going to watch. And it's considered a bad movie, but it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I love this film, and it's called Hellraiser 3.
Okay. I'm not interested in watching any Hellraiser movies.
She plays a reporter in that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's my favorite of the first 3 Hellraiser movies, but it's objectively the worst one in the series.
Okay.
Yeah. In the first 3. I know they made many, many sequels, but I stopped watching after that one.
But didn't you say the third one was is kind of more funny than scary?
Yes. But I believe that the first one and the sequel, Hellraiser 2, were meant to be more dark.
And Pinhead was the villain, right?
Correct.
In the second one?
In all of them.
In all of them, okay.
Yes.
And Pinhead is a demon.
Yeah, that is correct, ma'am.
And and why is he called Pinhead?
He has all these like weird pins sticking out of his head.
Ew.
Yeah. But yeah, Jadzia Dax fought against, or the actress who played her fought against Pinhead and J.P. Monroe. And
that was Terry...
Farrell, is it? Farrell? Something like
Farrell?
that.
I don't know.
I could have it wrong.
I could never figure out if it's Farrell or Pharrell now.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is you're talking to. I don't know.
She was also halfway decent on the show Becker.
Okay, I think it's possible I did see it, but I didn't know that it was Ted Danson on Becker. Because I think Becker had this girlfriend whose name was Chris. And people thought that she was too nice. And this is this may have been the later seasons of Becker.
I didn't watch all of the show. In 2002, I was living in Portland. And they used to show Becker at night. So I watched a couple episodes here and there, but I never got really, obsessed with the series or anything. Yeah.
I believe I used to watch Becker and a little bit of Just Shoot Me.
Okay.
That was with Wendy Malick, who the famous, talented Wendy Malick.
BoJack's mom.
Yeah, I don't think
Beatrice Horseman.
I don't think of her as crazy Beatrice.
See, that's how I think of her. I think of her as Beatrice Horseman and Judith from Dream On.
Well, she was also she was also Marty on or not Marty. She was also
the girlfriend on Frasier.
What was her name? Ronnie on Frasier.
Yeah.
But she's in a lot. She's in a lot of things. She's done a lot of voice overs for different cartoons and.
Yeah, but we all.
But I don't think of her as I don't think of her as crazy Beatrice. Or whatever.
Do you have? Oh, you're not that far into the show.
No, I haven't.
Okay, there's some questions about Beatrice I want to ask you once you've watched more of BoJack.
Yeah.
Yes. But Wendy Malick. So there's one I didn't like. Just Shoot Me that much, but there is an episode that I thought was really funny.
Which one?
Do you know Dave Foley guest starred as a blind guy?
Oh no, I don't remember that one. You have to refresh my memory on that.
Okay, so I'm normally bad at character names anyway, but with Just Shoot Me, I've maybe seen less than 10 episodes, so I'm going to be even worse. So he goes to their office. I guess they publish a magazine?
Yeah, I think they're a news room or something like that.
Got it. So he goes to their headquarters and he's looking for Wendy Malick. He can't find her, and he's this blind guy.
I think her name was Nina or something.
Okay. He can't find her, and this young lady, Laura Flynn Boyle, is there. So he starts talking to her, and he says, "Oh, I think that maybe she's not interested in me because I'm blind."
Is this a Becker episode, or is this?
This is Just Shoot Me, babe.
Just Shoot Me, okay.
Yes.
Because you said there was.
Okay.
No, but there's a Becker. Okay, that was a different one.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Okay. He's like, I don't think she likes me because I'm blind.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that is so rude of her. Mm-hmm. Would you like to go out on a date? He says, I'm blind, but yeah, let's go out on a date. Okay. She runs into Wendy Malick later on. And Wendy Malick's like, no, I didn't dump him because he's blind. I dumped him because that's the only thing he ever talks about is being blind. So, Laura Flynn Boyle, LFB, went out to the movies with him, and he starts yelling at the other patrons about how I'm blind, and this is this is, horrible for my people to see these depictions, and I can't tell what's going up on the screen, and my life is horrible because I'm a blind guy.
So he protests, pretty much.
He's just yelling in the theater, and people start to get up and walk out of the theater. Mm-hmm. So she's embarrassed, but she agrees to go out on another date with him.
Oh, jeez.
Keep in mind, I saw this episode about 18 years ago, and I only watched it once, so I might be getting this a little bit wrong. Mm-hmm. But I believe their next date was at his apartment, and they were cooking together, but he kept bringing up his blindness and messing things up in the kitchen. She eventually just walked out the door. I thought that was great.
Oh, that is so funny.
That cracked me up.
There was a Golden Girls episode about, there were actually two Golden Girls episodes dealing with blindness.
We talked about the one with Rose's sister.
Yeah, there was another one where Blanche meets a guy who is blind, and she decides that she wants to keep her options open and not date him, but date other people. Well, I guess what happens is she meets him at the restaurant, and she finds out that he is going on a date with another woman. Ooh. And she in turn is jealous because they didn't they didn't commit to each other. They were just kind of seeing where testing the waters. But she was thinking that he was gonna stick around for her after she realized that she was being a bonehead and wanted to give him another chance. And then he ended up dating somebody else, and she was super jealous. But the one about the Just Shoot Me episode is hilarious. Do you think, and here's a blindness question for you.
Tell me.
Because there are people in the sighted world, through maybe no fault of their own, maybe it's because they were not educated a lot, about the issue of blindness, and maybe it's just that they're not around blind people every day, right? And I understand that some people really focus on a person's blindness without even realizing that a blind person can have a life. Do you think there are blind people that do the same thing? They focus on their own blindness and they expect people to cater to them?
Of course, yeah. That happens a lot.
Okay.
We know a few people like that.
I think we do.
Yeah.
Like they continue to play the victim instead of being the victor.
They're not the hero of their own story, as Joe Rogan might say.
Right. They're just continuing on in their victimization. Mm-hmm. It's so sad. But I mean, I think it's interesting because I think it's one thing for a sighted person to focus on the blindness of a blind person because they don't understand. Either they don't understand blindness or they're not willing to understand it. And then there's another thing for a blind person to keep on focusing on their own blindness.
I'm of two minds on something like this.
Okay.
Okay, so the blind person probably was told throughout their childhood that they can't do certain things because they're blind, right?
Yes.
By their parents and society.
Yes.
And they weren't given feasible alternatives to how to do things.
Yeah.
So naturally, they think all of the world doesn't believe that they can ever accomplish anything, so they start to believe it.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Right. Having said that, at some point when you become an adult, I think you need to question things a little bit. And I don't know what point it is, but it kind of starts to reflect badly on you and not on the people who raised you.
Exactly.
If you're like 40 and still living at home and...
Right. And you've never lived on your own a day in your life.
Right. And not only that, but you can't travel well. You're not, you don't really do anything.
You don't travel at all. In fact,
you don't cook by yourself at all.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. You don't even try.
Right. You don't know technology at all. At some point, you got to take some personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people like that. But I just wonder sometimes what's going through a sighted person's head. I can only guess. Because there are some people who are like, wow, you're just so amazing. You can do all these things. And I'm like, well, I've done them before. I do them all the time. What makes it different now? It's like, what makes it different now? I mean, it's no more better than the way that a sighted person does things, except they can use their eyes. But I always wondered about that. I mean, sometimes I has this ever happened to you? Has this ever happened to you?
Maybe. You'll have to tell me a scenario.
I'll just say that there are times where I would go to parties that I was invited to, or what have you. Not snuck into, no. I didn't crash any parties. That I was invited to by people I know, and they never introduced me as a blind person, but they make it known that that's what I am, and they say, "Oh, and this is our, you name it," and she is living in an apartment, and they're listing all these accomplishments, right? And you know what? It drives me crazy because I kind of feel like I'm being put on display. Has this ever happened to you?
Not in that way, but I want to give an example and see if it's not the same thing. I've never had it where I go to a party and somebody says Rick lives on his own, and
he's so efficient.
Right. I don't think
it's happened to me.
I don't think I've had that happen. I've had other things. So I was hanging out in Boulder with some friends of mine. Mm-hmm. One of them was sighted, but he had sleep shades on.
Okay.
Because he wanted to experience blindness, and the other two were blind.
Right.
We go to this place called Lark Burger, which has this really good mushroom burger. Mushroom burger.
Mushroom boulder?
Mushroom boulder. I know.
That's a good name for a burger, though, the mushroom boulder.
Right. This was a mushroom burger. Anyways.
Sounds good.
We're eating at Lark Burger, and this lady comes to our table, and she says, excuse me, I don't mean to be rude. And my buddy says to her, but you're going to be. I don't want to say any names. This is the guy I know from Georgia.
Oh, okay.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do?
Yes. We had a dinner for him when he came to visit us like a year and a half ago. I don't want to say his name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love this person, but
I'll get to that later on, but
I just wanted to give you some point of reference so you know who said it.
After this episode I'll talk to you about that. But okay, go on.
Anyways, so he says to her, but you are going to be rude, and then they kind of start getting into it because he already knows that she's more interested in our blindness than who we are as people, and that's why she's coming over to us.
Yes.
At one point, I could sense that he's losing interest in the conversation, so I start to engage her. Mm-hmm. By then, I already know that she's a typical Boulder person. She's a massage therapist, and she has a client who is blind, who she refers to as her sightless Jedi.
Oh, of all the things you could call somebody, oh my goodness.
She has a son who I'm guessing is around 15, and he's being very quiet and standing away from his mom. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, and this was before I knew Jaylo, I thought to myself, this kid is going to grow up to be a diehard Trump supporter with the way he's being raised. But anyways.
Wait a minute. That's fighting words.
Anyway,
I'm not in the mood to tickle right now, but it's good. Fighting words.
I'm glad you're not. So we keep talking, and eventually, you know how I can be a little bit sarcastic.
Yeah, you always are.
Thank you. And
no, that's not a compliment.
Oh, it is.
I think it's something you need to work on.
Oh, I don't. Anyway, so I'm talking to her, and I wanted to end this, but I wanted to do it in kind of a fun way. So I'm like, listen, I know I'm an asshole and that upsets people, but if you have a shit fetish, then this thing could work. And she starts to laugh a little bit, and then I say, I think we should have a group hug.
Oh, no.
Because things got a little bit tense here.
Oh, yes. I think you may have told me this part.
Okay, so this is about 1 p.m. at Lark Burger in Boulder. It's not completely packed, but there's a good amount of people. My friend from Georgia does not get up for the group hug, but my other-sided female friend and my blind female friend and my sighted male friend both get up, and the four of us have a group hug in the middle of Lark Burger.
Why did you say no? I'm just kidding.
I wanted to see what happened.
Yeah, but you didn't mean it, right? I mean, you were just trying to.
I didn't think that she did. I didn't think that she'd go along with the group hug, but she did.
She didn't say, "Are you serious? You really want?"
No, she's like, "Okay, let's do a group hug."
Where you could have just said, "Wait, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. I didn't know that you were going to actually do that."
I believe my buddy from Georgia was a little bit annoyed at this.
I would be too. That would be very embarrassing.
Yes.
I'm sorry. At that time if I was over there at some kind of a some kind of a situation, I'd be like, I'm just gonna go. Right. I'm just really embarrassed.
That's different than your story at the party.
Mm-hmm. And this has happened to me many times.
Right.
I think now keep in mind, I think the people that I was with, and I won't mention who they were, I think they're starting to realize how annoying that is. I hope so. Because one of them asked me one day, do you not like it when we talk about you like that? I said, no, I don't. Because I feel like I'm in a display case.
What was their response to you?
I think she understood. I think she's starting to understand, because it's really, I mean, it's almost patronizing. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's like, oh my goodness, this is so-and-so. Oh, I heard so much about you. They've told me so much about you and how efficient you are and how independent you are. And I'm like, why does everybody have to...
I don't know the same Alana I know. That was a joke, babes. That came out wrong. Give me a kiss, okay? I love you, Jaylo.
Yeah, I love you too, Bob.
Keep going.
But anyway, I would hope that they are sensitive to that, because it really, I mean, I've had that happen to me for as long as I can remember, I think. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think more so since I've gotten older, since I started living on my own, it's been, you know, I've had that happen more times, you know, and I'm just like, ugh. You know, why doesn't anybody say, oh yeah, this sighted guy or this sighted girl is just so efficient?
You should do that once.
Yeah, maybe I should. I should say, oh yeah, and you know, if that ever happened again, it's like, yeah, and this person can get up at the right time, and they know when their oven timer has preheated their oven.
They have their own place.
Yeah, they can clean with the best of ease. Their apartment is always spotless.
They know how to drive a car. Good for them.
Good, they can put on their own clothes.
You could pat them on the head.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that sometimes, but it's really, you know, I just want to I just feel like I want to run out of the room and not come back for a while, because I don't want people to just focus on that.
It's a common thing for people with disabilities.
It's such a common thing. I don't know that it will ever end, but I would hope that since there are, you know, the blind community is, you know, there are a lot of people in the blind community, I would hope that people would start to wake up a little bit.
I want to tell one more story that you might not even know.
Okay.
This happened to me last year.
I was not there.
No.
Obviously not. Okay.
As you are aware, before the pandemic hit, I used to go ecstatic dancing fairly regularly.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's after a session of doing that, my energy level's up, and I go with a friend of mine.
We both know this person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. To get something to eat. Yeah. We're hanging out, and this girl comes in, and she immediately starts giving me attitude. And she's like really cool with my friend, and I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I also speak with my hands.
Yes, you do.
Right. There's a candle on the table, but it's a ways away from where my hand is. And she just like grabs my hand. There's a candle nearby. And for some reason, that really, really upset me. But I immediately like yanked my hand away from her, and I'm like, I got it. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel rude, like I was rude afterwards. But I've had situations to where somebody will say something like that, and I'll do it like a quick response, and then it'll stay in my head for a long time later. Like, did I react correctly in that situation?
Yeah. Well, I think so. I go back and forth with this, because there are times where I feel like I should have done something. But there are times where I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't do anything because that wasn't the right time. But I think there are times where you do have to stand up to yourself, stand up for yourself, no matter how uncomfortable it is, if you feel like it's necessary. But the fact that you took initiative, I think, is good, because then it did she ever do it again?
No, but I only met her that one time.
So she was giving you attitude as far as like trying to treat you like you couldn't do anything?
Just giving me attitude. I was noticed she was saying these little remarks, and of course I'm not remembering them right now.
Well, pointed directly at you, right?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah.
And that is rude. People are just really rude.
People can be rude sometimes, babe.
They are very rude, and there are times where, I mean, seriously, I am not the most confrontational person because I don't like to confront people. But I just, I kind of go back and forth with it. I really do. Yeah.
Interesting, Gia Wars.
Yeah. So, it's, as people have said, the saga continues, I guess.
That is correct, babe. Alana.
Yes.
We also watched the season finale of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, it was really good.
Season 5 ended.
Yes.
What did you think of the way it closed out?
Well, it's definitely a cliffhanger, I will say.
And I've already told you, the cliffhanger does not get resolved in the first episode of the next year.
No, I didn't think so. But when the 6th season begins, there's still the crew is still off of Deep Space Nine. Is that right?
Correct.
And they're on the Defiant, and they're fighting a war.
And they don't get back to they eventually get back to Deep Space Nine, but it's not in the first episode.
Okay. And then some of the crew is on Bajor.
Nah, Rom's wife Lita went to Bajor.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about the episode? Maybe not give everything away. But...
Well, so they're in a war against the Dominion.
Correct.
Because there was like a whole bunch of ships coming in from the wormhole, and they had to act quickly. And the only way that this could be done is the crew had to leave on the Defiant to get out of Deep Space Nine because it wasn't safe. Some people stayed back. Jake Sisko stayed back. I don't know why, but I guess, Benjamin couldn't really do anything.
Ben was pissed about that, though.
You know what? I would be upset too, though.
Yeah.
Why would he think that writing was more important than trying to defend your space station?
Than leaving the space station.
Than leaving the space station.
Having been Jake's age and obsessed with poetry at the time, I get where he's coming from, but he definitely made the wrong decision.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I mean, he was very young at the time, so of course young people make dumb decisions sometimes, and they just don't think things through. So I kind of get that, but I'm sure he'll come to that realization in no time. But and then Quark had to watch his bar, which I guess he cared more about profits as he usually does. I honestly don't understand something though.
Tell me.
I mean, I know that Rom wanted to look out for his brother, but why did he have to do that when he already got married? He should have been with his wife on Bajor.
That was part of the reason he was saying was to help Quark out. But remember, he's also a spy for the Federation. And he wants to help out against the Dominion. Because it's not that Quark isn't a good guy, but Quark is he's a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's good, but
he's questionable.
Yeah. Rom has stronger morals.
Yes,
so
he does.
He's partially staying back to help his brother, but he's also wants to help the Federation because he believes that they are on the right side of history.
Right, okay. But he doesn't want to be with his wife.
He does want to be with his wife, but Rom serves a greater good.
Well, I mean, I understand. Okay, so I understand that. Okay. So he had to keep her protected and also keep the Federation protected.
Yeah, and you got to understand something.
Yeah.
Lita is pretty much safe.
Yeah.
She's a Bajoran going to her home planet, and Sisko convinced the Bajoran leaders to join the Dominion because he wanted to keep Bajor safe.
Okay.
And the Federation is not going to attack Bajor because they know why Bajor is part of the Dominion.
Oh, to protect the Federation.
So the Federation now has a friend that is in the Dominion, which can be very helpful.
Okay.
Right? Because they can get intelligence from Bajor.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Bajor is kind of like a spy.
Yes, exactly.
To help the Federation, even though they're part of the Dominion.
They're not only helping the Federation, but they're also staying safe because the Dominion is not going to attack one of their own.
Okay, I see. Okay, so
yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I thought, I understand now about Rom's situation, but I never understood the thing about Jake's situation.
I get it. I don't agree with it, but I do understand Jake.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it was a really good episode, and that Worf and Dax were talking about the future of their relationship because they didn't know, what was going to happen, and Odo and Kira were kind of examining things about their somewhat, interaction with each other, that they had to focus on it, and then after that happens, then they can talk about other stuff.
After the war is over.
After the war is over, yeah.
Or at least further along.
Because they decided, okay, well, we'll just focus on this, and because then it won't be so weird between us.
And without spoiling too much, I did tell you that in the episode where when they take back DS9, the Federation, a character dies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But that'll just be something for you to look forward to, babes.
Oh my goodness, I don't like looking forward to people dying.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, babes.
I don't look forward to anybody dying.
I like, though, that in Star Trek sometimes people die.
Yeah, well, it does, put a lot of, what do you call it? It does give the story, the show a lot more meaning and, substance.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad you're enjoying DS9 still.
I am, yeah. I don't understand why people are saying it's a horrible show. It's not.
It's great. It's amazing.
It really gets you to think about a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even as it relates to, the Deep Space Nine world. Even if we don't live in the Deep Space Nine society.
But Star Trek has always been an allegory for other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that it's about Deep Space Nine. It doesn't really make you think about warp speed,
right?
But it makes you think about what we talked about the other day: PTSD, or compromising yourself,
or religious zeal.
Exactly.
Yeah, and how people can be zealots, but for the wrong reasons.
Babes.
Yes.
We also watched a couple films last night.
Oh, we gotta talk about that.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Let's start with Inner Space.
Okay, I really did like Inner Space, but I'm not like a huge sci-fi person, honestly. In general, I thought there was a lot of funny things in it, but I thought it was really weird. Really weird. It was kind of, it was a little bit strange how the story unraveled.
And you may have noticed from spending some time around me, Jaylo, that I like weird movies.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, okay, it's an acquired taste. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie by any means. It's actually really good. I thought it was very funny how how the way that Dennis Quaid was shrunken and injected into Martin Short's body.
That was cool.
That was really funny. Very odd, but very funny. And how he was able to talk to Martin Short, how he was able to see the pictures and that he had at his house, and seeing Martin Short's place and looking at the doctor that was treating him and everything, because Martin Short thought he was going crazy. And who wouldn't think they were going crazy if some weird person was talking to you from your ear?
Right.
I mean, wouldn't you be like, I can't believe I'm hearing this. I am going crazy. What is wrong with me? And so, am I correct, my dear?
Go ahead.
Am I correct that when he was in Martin Short's body, he had a computing device that was computing where he was in his body and transporting him there, right?
Yeah, it was like a navigation system.
That was kind of cool, actually.
It was. I like the movie. There are definitely some flaws I have with it, though.
I would imagine.
We haven't talked about this. Can you guess what one of them is? Or do you just want me to tell you?
About the fact that he was supposed to be in a rabbit's body?
That's part of it, but I could even go there with it. There's something I'm thinking about that happened later on in the movie.
Okay.
Do you want me to just tell you?
Yes.
Okay. Martin Short kisses Meg Ryan.
Okay, this is weird, yes?
And Dennis Quaid goes into her body.
That's weird.
It made me think, well, why didn't Martin Short just spit out Dennis Quaid?
I know. I know. Why does it have to be like that? And why would he have to go into her body?
I don't want to make excuses for myself, Alana.
Yes.
But the last time I saw this movie, and I didn't watch it all the way through, I was only 6 years old.
Well, how could you know that?
How could I know?
How could you know? There's some movies I watched parts of, and I was still very little, and I didn't understand it.
If I would have watched this movie, like, recently, I don't know if I would have shown it to you or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I didn't understand that part, and I would agree with you on that flaw, because, I mean, I suppose that if he didn't go into her body, he wouldn't have found out that she was pregnant with his child, okay? But
Right. Which they never address again in the movie.
they never address again. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't understand. I mean, why does he even have to go in there? I mean, she could have told him, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. You know, he didn't have to go in there. You know, I don't know. I mean, and then the fact that he went in there just by her kissing Martin Short, that doesn't, I don't understand it.
No.
Yeah.
And also, it didn't make sense that his ship was able to change Martin Short's face to look like the cowboy that they locked up in the
what is
bathtub.
it? And then why exactly? I know that they were catching the cowboy because he was a villain, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But why did Martin Short tie him up and leave him in a bathtub and they never came back for him?
I think they just assumed, thinking about it later, that the hotel would eventually discover him.
Yeah, that was weird.
But then you have the issue of the cowboy knows what Meg Ryan and Martin Short look like.
But my question would be for the ship changing Martin Short's face. Why did he have to look like a cowboy?
That made sense to me because the cowboy was there to make the deal to get the second ship that was needed to save Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then this is another thing I didn't, and I think you kind of explained it to me yesterday, but I had a thought that maybe Martin Short would end up with Meg Ryan because of the way that she remembered him. She remembered Steve. I'm sorry. What did I say? Steve. I always said Steve Martin. Dennis Quaid's character because Martin Short was wearing his clothes. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So I thought naturally that Meg Ryan would go for Martin Short because she was the one who left Dennis Quaid. And then they enlarge him and he goes back to her. Dennis Quaid goes back to Meg Ryan. So I don't know. I don't understand that. Do you get that?
I think because she was pregnant and they were through the situation, she realized that she almost lost Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, I still don't get the part why he had to go in her though, go into her body.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, so you understand where I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
I think you're spot on with this problem.
So I got a question.
Yes.
You said you liked the movie. So does my track record still stand or no? Of showing you nothing but good movies?
It does.
Okay.
I mean, there's some that I think are a definite acquired taste. I don't know that I want to see Shawshank Redemption again.
That's interesting because...
Well, I mean, I understand why you do.
If I had to guess, I would assume that that's probably your favorite film that I've shown you. But I would be wrong.
I don't know that it is. Well, it is a good movie. I'm not going to say it isn't. But I don't know that it would be my favorite film. I haven't decided what that was. What that is.
It's one of the few movies that makes me cry when I watch it.
Well, it is. It is definitely a movie of redemption and freedom, and I mean, it is. It does really make you think.
So far, what do you think the best movie you've seen because of me, or my recommendation?
Wow, I got to think about that.
I have a definite answer if you ask me the same question about you.
You have a definite answer?
Of what the best movie I've seen because of you is.
Okay. Let me think. Well, I can't say what the best movie is because a lot of them were really, really good, so it's hard to say. Mm-hmm. But I would say that one of the top ones would be the 2 Naked Gun movies.
Yeah, I love Naked Gun. I'm glad you do too.
And what would you say for me?
For me, it's Shrek.
Really?
Yeah, I thought Shrek was so good.
Shrek and Shrek 2?
Shrek and Shrek 2, but I'd probably give the edge just a little bit to Shrek 1 because I'd not been accustomed to that world before then. Mm-hmm. But I thought Shrek was just great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also liked Ever After as well.
Yeah, Ever After would be close.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, we have to talk about, so we're done with Inner Space?
Yeah, the one last thing I'd like to say about this film is, despite my problems with it, I'm glad I rewatched it, and this is going to sound odd, but part of me would like to see a sequel to this film. What are these characters like today? Mm-hmm. Is Dennis Quaid still getting drunk? Did Martin Short get over his fears and become somebody who's a success in life, who got out of his own way? Is Meg Ryan a successful reporter, or is she somebody who just became bitter?
Right.
I don't think we're ever going to see that happen because of Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid and because the film didn't do too well.
Yeah.
But I'd be interested to spend some more time with these characters again.
Right. Yeah, that's a good that's some good questions.
Yes. Should we say quickly what happened Friday night?
Well, we haven't even talked about the next movie.
I know, but this is a Meg Ryan related topic. When we're asking the Echo how much money Meg Ryan was worth.
Yeah. So we thought it was $8 million.
Because sometimes the Echo will mishear you and give you wrong information.
And then we found out it was actually $45 million. I'm like, okay, that sounds more like it. But
before we found out it was $45 million, we kept asking different names of celebrities who have been associated with Meg Ryan, like Tom Hanks, Dennis Quaid, and seeing how much money they're worth compared to her.
Yeah.
And we started, saying stuff to ourselves like, I wonder if they ever have parties where they get together behind her back and speculate what she's done wrong because she's only worth $8 million more than I am.
Yeah, but it sounds like she actually did well for herself.
Yeah, she's done good, babe.
She's done good, yeah.
You should be proud.
I guess.
And we watched her last hit movie.
That we think is her last hit movie.
Right.
Because she did do a movie called Proof of Life. I heard it was good despite the cost of it or how much it made. According
to the Echo, it did not make a profit. But that's a story for another time, Jaylo.
Right.
Let's talk about You've Got Mail.
Yes, You Got Mail. So I really like this movie, although when you do watch it, it definitely does seem dated because this is around the time that the internet wasn't as up to date because back then they had dial-up, and this was like in the late 90s, and I'm like, oh, I hated that sound so much. I hated it, and I didn't start to really get into using the computer until 2002, and I hated it because nobody could call you. And if somebody was on a dial-up connection, you couldn't call them because the phone line would be taken. Of course, because the landlines were still being used a lot more than they are today. So that was part of it. But what I really liked about this movie, part of the what I liked about the movie was the music. I thought the music was great.
Do you want to give a little bit of backstory on the characters or no?
Yes. So this movie was based. So I didn't know this, but someone explained to me that You Got Mail was based on a '40s movie called The Shop Around the Corner, which is about a little bookstore that has been around for a long time. In You Got Mail, Meg Ryan owns a bookstore that was given to her by her mother. It was called The Shop Around the Corner. Not that far. I think it was across the street, right?
Yes.
Across the street was a store called Fox Book Superstore, which was owned by Tom Hanks's character, Joe Fox.
And when we start the movie, he's getting ready to open the Fox bookstore, which is one in a chain of bookstores that he owns.
Yep. So he is in competition with Kathleen Kelly, who's Meg Ryan, her store, The Shop Around the Corner, and it's been around for years and years and years. And it's a really great children's bookstore, and they call her the story lady because the kids would come in and she would read them stories from books. And I thought that was pretty cool. But they're in competition. While they're in competition, there's some things going on in their lives. Joe Fox, Tom Hanks, has a really self-obsessed girlfriend. She's kind of self-absorbed, would you say?
Yes.
Very self-absorbed. And then Meg Ryan's character, Kathleen, is with this guy Frank, who
Greg Kinnear played.
Yes, who Greg Kinnear played, and he ends up having a thing for this newscaster later on, and I don't have to get into that one, but it was kind of interesting how that ended. So they're in relationships that are seemingly really like going nowhere, and Kathleen. So they're both in a chat room messaging somebody, except they don't know who they're messaging, or at least Meg Ryan's character has not figured it out until a certain part in the movie, which I will not get into right now. But yes, so that's my little synopsis so far.
Despite my issues with Inner Space, I liked it more than You've Got Mail, but I still enjoyed this film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it, like Alana said, it does feel very, very dated to me. The characters are enjoyable. There are few little minor things here and there, but overall it's good. One thing I noticed, babe, and we kind of touched on this before we started recording.
Yes.
In this film, Tom Hanks plays a character named Joe Fox.
Yes.
Who's dating a woman named Patricia.
Yeah.
In Joe versus the Volcano, his character's name is Joe, and he ends up with a woman named Patricia. I thought that was very interesting.
That is really funny, and I didn't even realize it until you mentioned it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny how they played with characters' names.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was intentional or not, but I thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool, yes. Yes, it is.
I would have liked it if Meg Ryan would have realized sooner that the guy she's communicating with online was Joe Fox, instead of it happening at the very end of the movie.
You think so? But you said you liked how it ended, though.
I liked how it ended, but I think it would have been cool if we would have seen maybe a half hour of them actually in a romantic relationship together.
I think it would have put a different spin on the movie. But maybe you're onto something, because even when so there's a scene where he goes to the cafe where she is supposed to meet him. He finds out it's her.
Because Dave Chappelle
Because
tells him.
Dave Chappelle, his friend, tells him, oh, by the way, if you don't like Kathleen Kelly, you're not going to like this girl because it's her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes into the cafe and he's like, oh, okay, well, isn't that interesting? You know, and he mentions Pride and Prejudice, which he read like
200 times.
Over 200 times. And she still couldn't figure it out. And she's like, well, the guy that's supposed to be here, you are not like him. And I'm like, wait a minute. She hasn't figured that out. And I explained to you, and she's like, you're like, well, how come, I forgot what you said. You asked me about why this story hasn't progressed. I said, well, because she hasn't figured it out that he was the guy from the cafe.
We know that I'm guilty about rewriting movies when I think they could have been better.
It's kind of annoying. Actually.
Not to me. It's annoying to me in this standpoint that I wish filmmakers would have realized this before I saw the movie. But in any event, I also think it would have been interesting if he would have realized before he gave her the advice to go to war with him that it was Meg Ryan. So that way he could have told her, okay, you do this and you do this, and it ends up speeding up the loss of her business. So he just gives her wrong advice after wrong advice, knowing that it's her. I thought that might have been fun.
That might have worked, actually. And still she couldn't figure out, because she's like, did I tell you that I own a store? And I'm like, oh, he already knows that. I'm thinking, come on, he already knows that. He saw you at the cafe. What do you think? And she still hasn't figured it out. I'm like, oh my goodness. Is she not paying attention? Has she been awake for the last, few months? I don't know.
Another issue I had with this film, and it's kind of a small one.
Yeah.
Near the end of the movie, Meg Ryan and Joe Fox kind of become friends because her store is gone, and she realizes that she wants to become a publisher. Mm-hmm. Okay, the reason she realizes that it's Joe Fox who was her friend on the internet is because his dog has the name that the guy on the internet's dog.
Brinkley.
Yeah, Brinkley.
Yeah.
Name has. So, if somebody has a dog and they're becoming good friends with Meg Ryan, you don't think that the dog is going to come up at all? Even if they're going to say, oh, I have this dog and I love my dog. You know what I mean?
I think, and this is just my theory, so don't quote me on this. I just think maybe they wanted to keep the dog out of it, and then that they decided that that's going to be the way that she figures it out, which it could have been any other way. But I kind of, maybe you're on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that it would matter if he brought up the dog or not, honestly.
Yeah. Now, having talked a lot about some of the things I don't like about the movie, let's talk about some of the things that really worked for me. Mm-hmm. I love the way her and Greg Kinnear break up in this film. Yes. Over dinner, and she's like, do you love me? And he's like, no. And he's like, do you love me? And she's like, no. And they kind of like laugh about it. I thought that was a really cool way to have a breakup.
And then before they break up, he was being interviewed by the newscaster, and it was pretty obvious that she was really into him. Mm-hmm. And he's like, she's flirting with you. He's like, no, he's not. And she's like, yeah, I would really like to. He's like, yeah, I forgot what he said, and she's like, well, I do too. And she's like, I'd really like to see you back here. And it's pretty obvious that she's trying to lay on the charm.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really funny though is when they break up, and she finds out that he's with that newscaster, and then she finds out that that Joe's ex-girlfriend wants to hire her, Patricia. It was kind of weird, but
another thing I liked about the film, first of all, I really enjoyed that when he's watching himself being interviewed on TV and talking about how horrible television is, he asks Meg Ryan if the VCR is recording him.
Yeah. That's
such a vain thing to do, but it's something I could see myself doing at some point. So.
And then what about the time where Greg Kinnear's character writes an article in the newspaper about her shop?
Yeah, that was fun.
It's like, what else are you going to put in the paper? Everybody else is going to know about that. And I'm already thinking, oh yeah, it's going to end. It's going to end right there.
Something else that really stood out to me,
Yeah.
in a good way, was the scene in the elevator with Tom Hanks and Patricia and the elevator. I thought that was a cool scene.
Yeah. And she's like, when I get out of here, I forgot what she said. They're like, when I get out of here, I'm going to marry... The guy was like, I'm going to marry so-and-so. I mean, I love her. I owe it to her to marry her.
And then Tom Hanks starts speaking and she interrupts him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's happened
But she's so, like, self-absorbed.
Yeah.
But she really thinks that Joe Fox is like her, but it turns out that he really isn't. He really isn't the jerk that you think he is in the beginning of the movie.
Daphne Coleman was... even though his part was small, he was good as Joe's dad.
He still seems like a sleazeball, though.
But that's who Daphne Coleman is in films.
Yeah.
He plays that character, the sleazeball, so well.
He does. Yeah.
I also am glad that Meg Ryan was not able to save her bookstore. Because I feel in most romantic comedies, especially of that era, they would have become friendly competition, right? But she still would have had the bookstore at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and nothing would have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I like stories that you root for the underdog, but I think in some ways it's good that the underdog doesn't always get what they want.
Right.
Because then that shows a lot of character. You know, like, oh, I have to start over again after losing my store.
To the man she loves.
Yeah. Right.
All right, Alana.
Yes.
We don't have to go here. Are we allowed to talk about the kids in this movie or no? If you say no, I'll drop it.
No, I don't think it's important. Let's just say, I'll just say it this way. His jokes at my expense didn't really make me happy, and he paid for it.
Okay, so I won't give anything away, babe. I will say that an argument started over watching the kids in the film because Alana said something, and it sparked a heated debate yesterday. But I still love my Jaylo. Can I get a kiss?
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love my Jaylo.
Okay. Okay, stop.
You don't like it when I do that.
It's kind of weird, Bubs.
Okay. Have you thought more about my movie idea for Friday night of pairing Network with Chinatown?
I don't know. I'm not too familiar with this actress. I'll think about it though. I mean, we still have like 4 days.
Okay.
I won't think too long about it. What is the premise of Network?
There's this guy named Howard Bill. I might have told you this before, so I'll make it quick.
Okay.
He finds out that he's going to be fired. He's kind of this older anchorman for a national news channel. So imagine somebody like, I don't even know who does the news anymore, but imagine Tom Brokaw.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom Brokaw.
Let's take him for an example. He finds out that he's going to be fired. He's a Tom Brokaw type. He gets on the air, and he just loses it. He has a meltdown on the show.
Right.
The ratings go up, so they decide to keep him on, and this show gets weirder and weirder.
You said that was part of the funny, the part of why it's so funny, right?
It's not really a funny movie. I know I've heard people refer to it as a comedy, but it's an interesting take on news, especially when you consider that it was made in the early 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And was this a local news station?
This is national.
National news station.
Talking big league, baby.
Baby.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what Network is, and what.
That's the basic premise, and Faye Dunaway is one of the executives at the network.
Okay, and what about Chinatown?
Chinatown's a more complicated movie. It's first of all, Roman Polanski directed it, which by itself makes it a little bit, an interesting film to talk about.
Right.
It's a great film, though. Jack Nicholson plays a detective in the 1930s who's investigating this case that, as we go along in the story, we learn involves John Huston and Faye Dunaway. Has to do with the water system and a few other things in the LA area. I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
But yeah, I love I maybe love is too strong a term. I think it's a really, really good film. It holds up well.
And when did that movie come out?
I want to say 74, around the same time that Network was released. Like, they were released within a couple years of each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I'll think about. 70s movies are kind of interesting, actually.
You didn't really watch a lot of them before we started doing our movie nights, right?
Not a lot. There may have been, maybe a few here and there, but not a lot, no. I think Carrie, the original Carrie, came out in the 70s.
I have not seen it. I really do enjoy the book, though.
You did, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So the first Carrie, I believe, was played by Sissy Spacek. I would not like that name.
No.
But some people have it. And then I think they made like a more up-to-date Carrie with, I think she was played by Rachel Blanchard, but I think that came out like in the 2000s or 90s or something. I can't remember what it was in it because they mentioned the internet. So, yeah.
That's something, babe.
Something like that, but they treated her really badly.
Yes, they did.
In the book.
Yes, they did.
For whatever reason. And why exactly was Carrie teased a lot?
Just because he was different.
Ah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's more complicated than that, but that's a very simplistic answer.
I just think, I think I remember hearing about the whole pig blood at the prom.
That was great, babes.
Came down from the ceiling.
Yes, yes, yes.
So was that book, was that book scary when you read it?
No, it's more like a fun read. I never really gotten scared while reading a Stephen King book.
Not even with it or...
I didn't read it all the way through. I need to go back to it.
Because I know that people have been afraid of clowns because of it.
I think that's just something people like to say. To me, he's not scary, but he's very fun to read.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Pennywise the clown, I heard, was scary.
Oh.
You know what's interesting? I'll just say I had a teacher with the same name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to interpret that, but that's something for another time, Jaylo.
There's no interpretation. Actually, I did have a teacher with the same name.
Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed his book called On Writing.
Oh, really?
Which is on Bard.
Hmm.
Yes. Jaylo.
Yes.
Have you had any interesting dreams? Since yesterday?
Since yesterday. Not yesterday, but I think the other night I had this dream where did I even say this about my family? There was some kind of a wedding going on in my family, and then somewhere in the midst of all that, there was this guy. My family was talking to this guy that wanted to kill himself or whatever it is, and it was.
Wow, I don't think you told me that one.
I think I mentioned it, but it was like a weird thing that happened in the middle of the dream. He didn't kill himself, but it was odd. That was probably the only dream I had that I can remember.
Okay, babe.
Well, oh yeah, and then the other one, I think I may have mentioned this on the last episode, or it might have been, I may have mentioned these dreams, come to think of it, in the last episode.
We don't have to go into your dreams. I was just wondering if you had any last night.
No, not last night, but
Okay.
I did think about the other two dreams I had
Oh, good.
prior to that.
I'm proud of you, babe.
Right.
Yes. Is there anything else you want to say, Jaylo?
No, I'm still a little tired.
And I'm not allowed to talk about the licking last night?
What? No.
Oh, okay.
And it's not what you think, everybody. It really isn't.
Below the waist. Anyways. Alana.
No. It's not what you think.
It was below the waist.
He wants to make it more grotesque than it was.
Beautiful act.
No.
I love you, Jaylo.
I'll just say that it didn't taste very good. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it wasn't where you think it would have been.
Anyways, guys.
Anyways.
Nothing else, Jaylo?
No.
All right, so I think what we should do, we should end this. We'll kiss. I'm almost unpacking. I'm going to wash my face. Because I got to leave because of the heat wave. And then you're going to walk me downstairs?
I might do that.
Yeah, you're going to walk me downstairs, okay?
I might do that.
Okay.
Yes.
But I think I need a quick kiss.
Stop.
All right.
Would you stop it?
All right, babe. Until next time.
Until next time, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.